One of the earliest records of this parish was when in AD 692 Nothelm, king of the South Saxons at the request of his sister Nofgilda, handed over the land for a church and a monastery. Aldingbourne in the 12th century was one of the oldest of the 15 castles or manors belonging to the See of Chichester. King John frequently visited it, and in June 1276 Edward I went there on occasion of the translation of the bones of St Richard to the new shrine in Chichester Cathedral. A chantry once at the end of the south aisle has a groined arch with a nail-headed moulding, of which is still an earlier style, but the north aisle with its arcade has been entirely removed. Among the very ancient fonts of black marble concealed under white lime, of a square shape standing upon 5 unequally sized pillars, which are frequent in this district, this is a curious specimen. The church was completely restored in 1850. The main entrance is on the south side and consists of a large porch. The inner arch, which is of Norman construction, is well worthy of notice, exhibiting as it does the nail-headed moulding. The pillars on the west side seem to have been restored in the transitional period. The old font before alluded to is the original and is late Norman and stands just inside of the west door, but at one time at the extreme west end of the church. It is circular in shape and rests on one large central pillar and 4 small shafts, one at each angle. The nave is separated from the south aisle by an arcade consisting of 4 early English arches. The columns with their rounder basae and the scalloped capitals indicate the decline of the Norman period and are composed of several different kinds of stone, the arches being mostly built of chalk. The foundations of the columns are modern. In the north wall of the nave are the remains of a series of arches which formed an arcade opening into an aisle which was destroyed and the arcade blocked up circa 1350. One of these arches of early Norman date, about 1080, has recently been reopened for the purpose of making an entrance into a new vestry in the place of the old one in the base of the tower. On the soffit under the curve is a remarkable painting, probably coeval with the arch. The outlines are in a deep red on a cream ground, and the circle patterns along the edges of the soffit are in a pale yellow ochre, enclosing a white centre. 4 lobed flowers or stars between semicircles, which, within are triangles, occupy the centre space of the soffit, and this is bordered by zigzags. When the blocking of this arch was taken out, it was found to contain fragments of Petworth marble coffin slabs. Other fragments or frescoes are to be seen in various parts of the church, but they are very far from being so distinct as this. Over the top of the arch is the following inscription: "This vestry was built by her children in loving memory of Edith, widow of J. Kincaid Smith, born October 28, 1840, died August 28, 1904. At the west end of the nave on the wall is a cross within a circle, probably a consecration cross. The original stone altar slab is still extant in the chancel, with the 5 crosses upon it, signifying the 5 wounds of our Lord. The present communion table, which is of oak, stands upon the old slab. The chancel has 5 windows, 3 on the north side, 1 on the east and 1 on the south. This last is being an early English lancet. Under the lancet window in the south wall is a piscina, and to the west of it are double sedilia, early English, exhibiting the dogtooth or nail-headed moulding referred to by Dalloway. At the east end of the south aisle, which was rebuilt in 1867 and restored again in 1889, is the chantry mentioned by Dalloway, the archway leading into it from the former being Norman and supported by a small pillar on each side, having foliated capitals. In the south wall is an aumbry, which are deposited the remains of an elaborately carved piscina. In the east wall is an arched recess or window, partly surrounded by fresco work. On the north side there is a small early English arch, which is really a continuation of the south arcade. The groined roof exhibits the nail-headed moulding. The base of the tower was built about the 13th century, and the upper part at a much later date. The registers date from 1558. In the churchyard at the southwest corner will be found many ancient tombstones, some having interesting inscriptions, but they are far too numerous for us to set them out here. And that brings us to the end of our visit to Aldingbourne. I hope you have found this video enlightening and informative. So from me, Chris, this was Let's Wander, and we'll see you again soon. Bye 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 bye.